All referencing systems require writers to provide information about the sources they use. This tutorial provides information and examples on the Chicago Note bibliography referencing style. Unlike an author date system, Chicago uses superscript numbers in the text itself. These numbers correspond to a footnote at the end of the page. This tutorial is based on the 16th edition of the Chicago Manual of Style and focuses on formatting footnotes and the bibliography. Superscript citation numbers referring to a footnote are placed in the text, usually at the end of a sentence or a clause. The footnote contains all bibliographic information related to the source, so the reader can easily identify authorship and other details. For a footnote, authors' names are placed with the first name, then surname, for example, John Smith. The first time a source is used, all bibliographic information such as the authorship, title, publishing details, and date need to be included in the footnote. However, if you use the same source again in your writing, you need only record brief information, that is, the surname of the author, a shortened version of the title. And remember, Chicago requires page numbers for every citation. There are times when in your writing you may include a direct quotation from a source that you have been consulting. A direct quote is word for word the same as the original. However, paraphrasing, that is, putting the information you have been researching into your own words and phrases, is preferable in academic writing. Here is an example of both a quotation and a paraphrase with corresponding footnotes. Many sources are produced by more than one author. Here is information on what to include for multiple authors of a source. You may like to pause the tutorial at this point to have a closer look at the different components. The important thing to remember is that in a footnote, the format is first name, then surname. In the bibliography, the first author is formatted by surname first, and the following authors are then formatted in normal order. Often you may be reading one source which summarizes the ideas of another source. If you are using this information in your writing, you will have to acknowledge both the author of the original source and the author of the source you have read. Secondary sources are typically used when the original source is not readily available. In this example, you have read Smith, whose ideas have been quoted in Henderson. This slide gives additional information about the formatting of a bibliography. Here is an example of a bibliography. You might like to pause the video and have a closer look at the different components. Note the format, such as double line spacing, the use of hanging indent, and that the list is arranged alphabetically. This presentation has been based on the 16th edition of the Chicago Manual of Style. It provides an overview of the Chicago style and provides some examples of footnoting and a bibliography. It is recommended to be used in conjunction with other Chicago materials provided on the SLIO page. Please note, your lecture and course outline will always take precedence over anything presented here.